Hi Internet, Kim and Chris back with another episode of Rambling Tea Time.
Hey everyone.
We're gonna get right in. Christopher brought to my attention this thing called Morbing Time. And that's the time that it is right now for us. Time. So, yeah.
Morbius.
Yeah.
The movie that has become a meme.
Yeah.
The movie that sold 6 trillion Morbillian bucks worth of tickets.
Morbillian.
Yes. Movie so bad that the only thing good from it is the memes that have been talking about how good it is when it's actually not true. It's amazing. Yeah. It's absolutely amazing that after it came out and a few weeks have passed, the only thing that has survived is that Morbin Time is the best scene in the entire movie. You know?
The thing is, the reason why Morbius is seeing a lot of people go to watch it is because people have FOMO, right? They have the fear of missing out. And then when they watch it, they're like, oh, this is what everybody was talking about. And then we got like that too. And then I hear that more people go back to watch it just to see how bad it is again.
No, not me. No thanks.
I'm like,
One was enough. It's...
I watched a video, the guy said, like, you just said $4 billion. I love that so much. It's not real money.
It's just, what were they thinking?
I don't know. I don't know who wrote it, but they shouldn't have. The director shouldn't have.
They just shouldn't have.
The actors should have declined. You know, I don't know how much money they were paid, but we saw that they had our Matt Smith in there, and I mean, I guess Jared Leto as the main character got paid some money, but Lord, did they read their script?
The scripts were not good.
Because before you take on a role, you read the script to see the general idea, right? The story. They said yes. Wow. In any case, we are going to obviously not have anything good to say about it.
No.
So let's just get into the insults.
Yeah, the insults.
Do we even have to say what the story is about? Okay, look, the story is about this doctor. His name is Michael Morbius.
Oh my God.
All right, that's his name. He has a disease, a condition,
a blood disease. That's what it is.
And he is trying to find the cure for it, and in doing so, he becomes a vampire. A pseudo bat vampire. Why didn't he become Batman? Anyhow, bye. It starts off with him as a young child in a hospital. How old were they? I don't know.
I don't know.
Child age. And we see him get a new bedmate, who is also sick with this condition.
Blood disease. Right.
And his friend's machine stops pumping blood, and then he passes out, and I guess he's nearly dying. And before the guy, did he call anyone? He called the nurse, right? But then he fixes the machine himself with a ballpoint pen spring.
That was okay. This
is why I don't understand. Before that, they only show him doing origami, and then all of a sudden he's a mechanical genius, and then later on he becomes a doctor.
It honestly just this is one of those movies that's just like, here is why the character is the way they are. They're just like, he's doing something smart, so he's a genius. Right. And then the doctor guy is like, that apparently wasn't there when the other friend was dying, and there were no nurses there at all for this. Apparently these kids with fucking blood disease bullshit. But he's like, you fixed it with a spring? I'm gonna have some friends who will take you in and get you a scholarship or something because
Yeah.
you're so talented. I was like, motherfucker, like, really?
I'm like, no, but Christopher, what I'm saying is, he
Nonsense.
was just doing origami.
Uh huh.
Then he skips the spring into a
Mm-hmm.
machine, and he's like a genius
It's,
now.
it's supposed to show that he's smart, like, because
Wow.
like he does origami. Or normally, what they do for when they're trying to show that a kid is smart or anything,
What?
they give them a Rubik's cube, and then you see them like solving it super fast or whatever. It's another one of those things that is supposed to clue into the audience that this kid is super smart or super talented or artistic or whatever nonsense. That's all they do. Give them a thing that is considered a smart person thing in
Yeah.
quotation marks.
I don't think that origami is a smart person thing, though. You just have to have hands and read instructions.
Yes.
Be able to read instructions. And, you know, if you remember after a while, you're able to do it from muscle memory.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not.
It's not a hard thing to do. It's a simple, basic thing that kids are taught. But whatever.
Anyhow, so the origami genius, 25 later, becomes a.
A doctor.
Right. He wins the Nobel Prize for doing things
No,
which
no,
we
no,
never
no.
see.
It's artificial blood.
Right. Artificial blood, which we never see him make. He just
But
like
he's been drinking
years
it
of
apparently.
years of his life are just blown past. All of the research, we don't see all of like the research for him,
To
you
make
know,
this
gone up to
artificial
that
blood, which is apparently
point.
super
We're
amazing.
we're just told. We're not shown lots of things in this show.
Yeah.
I mean movie. So we're constantly told how intelligent he is.
Yes.
But having not seen it. Even that one scene, it was
Which
so
one?
weird. They go on the ship. This is ahead of time, but they're on the ship, and he barely puts the thing inside the machine, and then immediately it says complete, right? It's like immediately, like it is constantly just having things happen.
Yeah.
Without showing how they happen.
Because this is this is pretty much movie doctor science shit. It's like it's too much. Like, you remember when they're in the lab and he's like talking to the love interest woman, lady doctor, that
Martine,
that he's been testing and stuff, right? The only reason we know he's been testing is because he's been saying the test and then the numbers, right? That's
right. That's another one of the things. He constantly, there's a lot of exposition in the show in there.
There's just, it's supposed to like,
they keep trying to tell us things
but
without
not
showing
yeah,
us.
so it's like test
What
number
was the budget?
170.
The budget obviously wasn't good, as we can see after when we see how the face
It went into
looks,
all the shitty CGI.
transformation and that weird mist that you had an issue with.
We'll get to that weirdness bullshit. So he's like testing, and he's like test 117 or 117, and the rat dies, and then he has to go. I said to you before the scene happened, that can actually work. The girl can see it, or them can see it, and he can go and leave the room now. Immediately, the scene was the doctor calling, a nurse calling him because the little kid was sick and she was like having some issues. So both of them leave the room and they go on, they help the girl, and then she's fine. And then look back, the rat come back to life from the test.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, how simple. It's like, I feel like this movie is just so by the numbers.
Yeah.
It is like, here's the doctor person, here's his little shitty bat story, here's the testing, but we're not going to show you the testing.
Something about those bats.
The vampire bats?
Those bats are not sanitary.
They're not.
How did he get them in a hospital?
How did he get them in a room? I kept saying throughout the movie.
I mean,
right?
how did he transport them?
Exactly. How did he get them into that big... No, don't forget there was a trap, but we didn't even see how that trap worked. All we saw was that he opened some string thing, cut his hand, put the blood on the very beginning of the movie, and then the bats rushed at him. And
you
then
know what is crazy?
We never see the trap actually catch the bats.
Exactly.
Again, like, we're just being moved from point to point.
Also, when he cuts his hand, the bat should have attacked him.
They kinda did.
But it seemed that
Just
when
lick
they were
the blood.
showing, yeah, it looks like they were only like licking
because
blood,
they're
but there
vampire bats.
were like thousands of bats. They would have massacred him in real
I
life.
don't think vampire bats don't really attack people like that. They're
You don't
annoying, but they
know.
wouldn't eat him or anything like that. They're not like piranhas. Even though this movie kind of makes you think that they probably are some sort of hierarchical species. Oh my god, the end of the movie is so stupid. You all know the biggest issue that I have with the bats?
What?
Is that when he had them in the cage, I was like, and they must be smell like so much bat poop.
Yeah.
There must be so much guano inside of
Then
there.
there was the scene where he went in there. Wow.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing? So he eventually makes the thing, he sticks it in him, and now he has bat powers, and saying he's slash vampire. And he's super strong, super fast. So at the beginning, he's super strong, super fast, and he needs to drink blood, right?
Listen, you know what was
Can we just stop
really
laughing?
ridiculous? When I remember it, this is after he done all the tests on himself. When he's doing like his mini training arc, his training was like catching a ball. He caught a ball and he was like done training
Because
all
his
of his
echolocation.
everything. It was so dumb.
Oh my god.
And the ball had this mist that came up.
Okay.
That
Let's
was so
compare
dumb.
this to Spider-Man, right? Since it's the closest that we get. We have a person who is injected with some weird mutated version or bitten by a weird mutated
He should have
creature.
been Batman.
He would have become a Batman. But they can't use Batman because that's DC and that's their property. Or he could have become Man-Bat.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Bat. The man bat.
The funny thing is, right, is that Peter Parker gets bitten by a radioactive spider or whatever type of thing, mutated spider or whatever changes, and he gains the abilities and stuff. He gets super strength, he's quick, and depending on which continuity he actually shoots spider web out of his hands.
Yeah.
And some he makes his own web in, right? Because he's a super smart kid. And he doesn't turn into a weird monster, so he's lucky. Meanwhile, we have Mr. Vampire Morbius who gets injected, and all of a sudden he's mutating, and
He
he's
was
like
more like
turning. He goes back
a
and
werewolf
forth
from the past.
Yes, he was like a werewolf.
Who could fly?
Do we have to talk about him flying? No, let's talk about the mist. Okay. Me and Kim were confused because when he first got his abilities and he was moving all about,
I thought it
there was like
supposed
this
to be
mist
wind or
or
something.
this like weird like effect coming off of him whenever he moves through the air, because I guess to show that he's moving fast, but it trails along. Like how I was thinking to myself, is he supposed to be a magic vampire? Because I was thinking to myself, this makes more sense if it was magical because of the weird mystical
like
type of
fairy
thing.
dust.
Yeah,
how it
the
looks.
weirdness around him. It could be like some weird effect. No, that's just the aesthetic that they're going for.
Yeah.
And-
Remember when I told you? No. It's speed lines. It's speed lines.
It looks so bad. It was.
It is bad.
It was.
Then
Why?
there was that scene where he like flew through the city.
Oh my fucking god! He discovers how to fly
Like a flying squirrel.
because this makes no like you want to know the reason why I keep bringing up Spider-Man, right? Is because even though he has like the senses of a spider, he can pick up. His senses are super strong. His senses are better. He is super strong and he's just very resilient. Peter Parker is pretty much one of the strongest like people in like most of this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And he actually holds back when fighting his villains because he would kill them. So when you see how he didn't turn it and all of a sudden he could like do everything like what am I?
You don't
I'm
know.
thinking about Morbius just flying
Listen,
because
you
he
remember
realized that the air.
scene. Listen, you remember the scene inside the subway?
Yes,
The train was coming. He put his hand out like he was doing a hand wave.
because he was
and then
picking up the air.
Then he like flies in front of. He jumps out in front of the train.
It's so fucking stupid. Like
That was so bad.
that.
The scene where they show Matt Smith and the train was coming and Matt Smith was running and it was like in slow motion was so cringe.
The train was
Oh
coming
my
faster than he
God.
was running. It was
Oh
so
my
bad.
God.
And he was doing this stupid hand thing that he's doing. You stick your hand outside the window of a car.
Yeah. He was doing the hand wave.
So he's like, oh, I can fly. And then he just jumps in front of the train and flies away. What about? Oh, think about it. You're mutated and you could do everything a bat do. That does not. If he had bat wings,
Wings, right? That's what he kept
I
saying.
would have been like to be. You want to know how to? I would have made this movie better, even with all the cringy
Tell us,
bullshit.
Chris. Tell
I
us.
would have gone all the way in the mutation angle. I would not have it just be a two-step phase that he's phasing in and out of. I would have had it. That he gets like bat wings and he turns to bat and it just like he gets like, very grotesque and he is dealing. He has to deal with that now.
Like how
As
they
in
had, was it Mosquito Man or somebody like that a couple years
Mosquito
ago?
Man.
Many years ago, we watched something like that,
Really?
didn't we? There was a
Mosquito Man?
movie.
It was a movie.
Was it Mosquito Man?
You thinking
It
of
was some kind of insect.
I think you're talking about was it the moth?
Ah, it could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was that. And then recently they had something new that was similar to that as well.
There've been a lot of stuff that have done this type of movie better, but they've needed to. But I guess Morbius is a character. I do not know anything about Morbius
Yeah, me
from
either.
the Marvel character things. I know for a fact that he's a character. I know that he exists. I just know that he's like a Z tier, D tier type of character.
Yeah.
You know.
From this movie, I could tell that he was obviously a nothing character that didn't really need to be focused on.
They're scraping the barrel of what to make for the Marvel movies ever since
Yeah.
they've made what was it the last big one that ended everything, big world ending thing, Infinity
I don't
War.
know.
Look, we
I
don't
don't know.
watch
I don't
Marvel
know their
movies.
movies.
The last Marvel movie I actually sat down to watch was Deadpool, the
Right,
first
me
one,
too.
the
Yeah.
first one.
I
That was
watched
years
the
ago.
second one. I did, yeah.
So like, I don't know all the continuity or anything that's going on, but like, it was just. My god, the stupid flying and my brain while watching this movie was just like blanking out at certain times. It was
Yeah.
just so the dialogue was just so boring. You want to know the best part of this
Yeah.
movie, Kimberly?
What?
Is when Matt Smith's character, after he gets like he injects himself with the venom and stuff all like that, and he's dancing. That's the best part of the movie. Remember he's
That
just
was
dancing?
good. Reminds me of we said it reminded us of the Joker.
Yeah, he's just there dancing because he's happy that he can do shit now, right? That's cool. That was fun.
Also, though, he did
His
not.
his
we didn't
motive
really
for being
exactly,
evil
exactly
is just kind of
lacking.
he just does bad things now because he can.
Can right.
You know, both of them are the shittiest vampire types in any type of thing I've ever seen. Kinda. At least the villain was. At least Matt Smith's villain was entertaining, but
Yeah, he was somewhat entertaining.
I wish they could have probably gone way more with the very slocky type of angle, I guess. With just the absolute silliness that was going on with the fact that nobody can figure out that he's the one who did all. This movie is so bad.
It is bad. Do you remember the part where he's inside he locked himself inside the room
Yes,
and he's like suffering blood withdrawal now
because he's
and
testing it. I think
yeah, then Lucian comes in and he writes blood on the glass.
in his
I'm
blood
like, I'm sorry, you're cognizant enough
to write but not
blood?
speak.
Exactly, but not speak. You
my
can't
God.
say blood.
Yeah,
It's just one word. I mean,
He
it
wasn't-
took so much more energy to write it out.
That's
than
what
to
I
say
mean.
it. I just thought, what is you doing right now?
It wasn't like if he couldn't speak or anything, as far as we could tell. So like,
Yeah. It was odd.
it was.
And then the conversation
weird.
that they proceeded to have.
I can't give you it. It's like what but you're okay. You could give me the thing, and it's like, but no, you can't. I've made a mistake. It's who wrote this?
It was lacking in many ways.
Who wrote this? This was bad. I could have written a better script, and I'm a no-name person on the internet. Like, come on. Talking about just bad. The whole relationship between him and I kept calling her the love interest, Martine, Dr. Martine. It was just,
That was all she was. Listen,
Yeah,
her whole purpose was to die at the end
and
so that
then
he could feel like he had some reason to tear down Lucien.
she comes back anyways.
Exactly,
I
exactly.
said that. I literally said that. I was like, Kim, the movie can end, but she can open she eyes like at the end. And what happened? She friggin' did it.
That was her whole purpose in the whole show.
Yes.
I'm sorry for her, but that was it. That's why I kept forgetting her name, but I said it earlier. I said it earlier so that I remember. But
Martine.
when I tried to think about her after, I was like, what? What's she name again?
I'm so surprised that she didn't get killed earlier by Lucian in the movie. Like honestly, I would have if since he visited her by herself when Morbius was missing and was being like hunted or through the city for being for committing crimes that Lucian did and whatnot. I was like, why don't you just like kill her now? You know, if you're going to take everything from he killed the doctor dude who
Yeah.
took care of it
Because he had
all along.
obviously been stalking
What?
her.
I remember you wrote it down on paper and I looked at it and it was
What did I write?
Doctor Daddy issues.
That's right. So then there's this scene where we didn't speak about. His name is Nicholas, the doctor that they both had from the time they were kids, who was looking after them.
Yeah.
He goes to see Lucien, and this is after Lucien had killed, who knows how many really.
People.
I feel like they should have showed him killing more people.
Yeah, and just feasting on people.
Yeah.
I know what I would have preferred.
They could have also made it seem like he went crazy as well. If they went in that direction even more.
Yes, like he even got more unhinged. But
Yeah.
they were both like aware of what they were doing. It probably would have been a much better movie if Lucien stayed was just wanted to be better. And this whole jealousy angle didn't come in.
And you know what? Why are they jealous?
I don't really get it.
Let
They
me
seem
tell
to
you.
be
Let me tell you why.
very close.
No. Let me tell you why. So Lucien was saying that Nicholas's favorite was always Michael.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I don't really care about being my doctor's favorite since I know my doctor got like hundreds, thousands
But
of
like you
patients
said,
depending on where
Daddy,
you go.
because they were
Yeah,
like a daddy.
they obviously have. Well, Lucien obviously has Doctor Daddy issues, right? And I think the whole reason he was upset at Michael is because he never called his name.
Yeah, because they called him Milo throughout the entire friggin' thing.
He only called him Lucien twice. The first time when he was dying as a kid, where
then,
he fainted, passed out because the machine did not work. And the second time is after he killed him.
Oh, I guess when he was dying and he called him Lucian was supposed to be foreshadowing. I just realized that some hat writer thought that would be good for foreshadowing. That the only two times when they call him Lucian is when he's almost dying and when he's dying.
Excuse me, writer person, but you probably think that you're cute, but I'm sure that you know you aren't right now. Anyway, that's the reason, and I'm saying that it's a serious reason. When you don't call a person by their name, you know how that feels?
You're denying a person's existence.
Exactly. That is what I think really ticked off Mr. Lucien. There was also, after the nurse was killed, right? He was in the hospital, and he just goes out into the hall. Before he was hiding himself. He was concealing him being there, and then he just goes out all without his hood on, and everyone can see him, but nobody says anything,
realizes
or recognizes him.
The famous Michael Morbius, the creator of
he's like walking
artificial
around
blood
without his
crutches.
And I think that would be really odd, right? This is the hospital that he works at.
And then when he ran away because the cops came for him.
He left with the hood on.
Yeah.
I don't know what he think he was doing now, but
and then
I don't think that was the scene he should have run away. When he was confronted by the police, he should have continued to pretend.
He should have. But then the police were like locked down because the lady and all that
And
shit.
then they just arrest him, and then the next scene we see him in jail for no reason. It was so
And
strange.
then
It's like
he
they didn't tell him why he was being arrested. They were like, a nurse is dead, you're arrested because you were on a ship with other dead people.
and
It's
then
like,
he ran away because he's the prime suspect, I guess. Because
uh-huh.
because it's suspicious shit, I guess. Yeah, it's suspicion, so he's still.
I'll tell you
I'm not
what
trying
was
to.
really ridiculous and really a moment of, oh, it had to happen, so it happened.
Tell me.
Is when he meets the
I
Dr.
wanted to talk
Lovelady in
about
the
that too.
diner, right?
No, before that, the doctor lady realized that she's being followed by the cops because she wants to be questioned. They want to question her, and she gets on a bus, and sitting down behind her on the bus is him. How did he know that she would have got? Okay, Kimberly, think about it. He would have had to
He
have
was
known
following her as
as well.
That's what I think. Because okay, look,
It feels so stupid.
they showed Lucian following her. So after, I guess we're supposed to infer that Dr. Morbius was also following her.
This fucking movie. Kimberly.
Anyway, they meet at the diner.
And what does he do? He takes off his hoodie and they have a conversation. This is after his pictures inside of newspapers and all over the place as wanted by the cops. But they're in a diner, a crowded diner, by the way, with tons of people everywhere. And nobody is going to be like, oh, hey, that's the dude that's everywhere that the cops want in New York City.
It's like, am I supposed to believe that this diner is probably only for convicts or criminals, so nobody's gonna turn in the other or something. In any case, he overhears the two guys who come in.
Oh my god!
And they talk about a lab that they have, right? About getting the whatever from the lab, and that only happened. It was so bad. It was like we had to get to B, so it had to happen.
Yes,
and it happened, but it was like, why would he randomly be at a diner to meet with her to talk about important information when he is in hiding just to find a lab, a location to do more? It's a
everything just happens because it needs to happen.
Yeah.
He's there, he overhears the guys talking about some lab, and then there's a scene where he walks past somewhere, he sees some EMTs and he grabs some blood. And we thought that those guys were the EMTs, but then we just realized they just happened to have EMTs there.
That was random too.
He just stole the blood.
Okay, and here's the thing.
Because he needed it.
I understand that a lot of stuff happens in New York, so, EMT, police, fire truck, ambulance might be always on a block. But are you serious? He walks out of the diner, out of the alley, and they're just there. Blood just happens to be there for him. It's like, I don't think so. Also, they wouldn't leave their stuff outside unattended.
No, they wouldn't.
They would get fired.
Yeah. They were going inside some place.
Exactly.
Why would they leave your things?
Exactly. That's, oh my goodness. Nonsensical things happen. And you know what? I remembered where one of those guys is from. One of the guys who came into the diner. That's the Shadow and Bone boy. You remember? The Shadow and Bone boy.
Wait, the one? The
boy. The girl.
Alina.
Yeah. The boy.
The love interest?
The boy who was the friend. Who was the childhood friend who came in at the end. That was him. Yeah, one of the boys was him.
I preferred him when he was in his own series.
Yeah, I mean, all he did was walk into a lab and then run away.
Did he even do anything in that lab?
No. I don't know what they were doing. I guess it was like their hideout or something.
It felt like it was just one scene.
They were. Who was?
No, I mean Morbius.
You're Morbius.
Did he do anything in the lab?
I don't remember.
I remember him like clicking some stuff on the computer, and then the next scene happened.
That's probably how it went.
What? Oh my god, this is just terrible.
It's quite bad. Quite bad.
It is amazingly bad. I don't think I've seen a movie this bad in a long time. Especially, I haven't seen a superhero movie this bad since Marvel has been doing stuff. And I'm not gonna say Marvel movies are all great. They kind of all have the same like type of like thing. It's the same thing with like superhero comics. Like my biggest issue is always this: the bad guy has an ability. What is the ability? The same ability as the good guy. You know, that same type of shit all the time, over and over and over again. And just, then this movie, Kimberly, just somehow is the bottom of the barrel.
This is definitely
This is the
the
ground floor.
it's worse than the bitters. You know, the bitters are like the and then
Yes.
this is, like you said, really scraping
Literally,
together
yeah.
the bits.
Somebody is licking the bottom of the glass. And this is what they've pulled up. Morbius.
I want to backtrack.
Go, yeah, keep going. I don't mind.
The when Lucian
Mm-hmm.
had taken the thing and walked out of jail, and then Mr. Morbius had, jumped out of jail, which he could have done earlier, right?
Yeah. But he needed the blood to get him hype, I guess.
Yeah, whatever, sure. So when he did that, apparently he could hone in on Lucian's voice.
Okay.
Out of all of the thousands
Oh
of
my
millions of
god.
people in New York, he was able to find Lucian's voice. And the only reason that Lucian had to attack that
And guy
guy
and
was
speak.
so that he would find him easier.
It is so fucking absurd, right? Your ability is echolocation, right? And somehow that echolocation turns into fine tuning to being able to hear the specific thing you want to
Listen.
hear
He
in a
has.
city
Listen,
of
listen.
millions of people.
His
Millions!
ability is find your phone. So the phone,
It's Lucian.
exactly. That's exactly how it is.
Because the only voices he ever locked onto are Lucia and Martine.
The one with Martin was even more outrageous because he was further away.
I don't even know how it like echolocation is one of those things that if you send out a pulse, you will hear back the same type of thing, right?
Right.
And the fact that he isn't hearing almost everything around him and it's just like going nuts.
Right. They
a
don't
bit, or
even
just, like,
they don't
showing...
even make it seem like he's hearing everybody, and then
Nope.
he
They did it a
like
little bit, but it's like
they did it once. They didn't do
so-
enough,
no.
especially when it had to do with Martine that time.
Yeah.
Because Lucian was like attacking her. It's like he was already tuned into listening to her. It's like, excuse me, are you on Martine FM 100% of the time? Now that's considered stalking. You know what I mean?
Ah, my god. Let's talk about that fight. The fight at the... Well, is it really even a fight? Man, this movie was so dark at some places too. It was just so hard to see everything. The last fight between him and Lucian. After Martine has her tearful cry and she tells him to make it mean something or something like that, and then she dies and then he bites her and he's like,
know what?
screaming and everything. I'm just like,
You can tell that the writing continued to be really bad when she said, make it mean something. That sounds like something I would say. You know what I mean?
I'm making a joke.
Exactly.
Oh my god. She's like, make it mean something. So he sucks her blood to get even stronger, and then he and Lucian fight his kind of way, and then Lucian kind of beats him, and then he summons all the bats in fucking New York,
Yeah.
and they're swirling around him because he is the Bat Mother, and they're come home to save
right.
him.
He did his whole cry.
Okay, I gotta ask a question. This man has apparently flight, right? We haven't seen Lucian fly. This man can summon bats. We haven't seen Lucian summon bats.
That's
Why?
that's my whole thing.
Is he because he's the top vampire?
I don't know, but I think that they should have shown the same abilities with Lucian. We should have seen more of him doing a lot more
Or
things.
just show him, like, the only scene we get of him, like, seeing that the bats are supposedly, like, with him is when he steps in and he says something about how these creatures, I feel a certain kinship with them. And I was just rolling my
What?
fucking
So
eyeballs.
Lucian doesn't have a kinship with them
No, because
because
he's
he
the
didn't
bad
walk into
guy.
a bat tunnel or something.
No, he didn't touch the bats with his pheromones yet, or whatever the fuck.
Right, right. Okay,
Because,
sure.
so, and then he summons the bats, and they're flurring around him.
Yeah.
And then he goes and does what looks like if he's going to do a kamehameha.
It was not. It wasn't
And
looks
it
like
was.
exactly.
And then he throws the bats at Lucian.
Yeah.
And then he does another bat attack with at Lucian. And then
Bat
Lucian.
attack.
And then he's down on the ground. And then Lucian's there. And then he kills Lucian. And then he flies away. In the bats. In the tunnel of
Yeah.
bats.
No, the police
What the
come.
fuck? The police were so pointless and useless in this fucking movie. They never get a chance to. I'm never gonna talk about them. You know how I would have fixed this movie?
How?
I would have made it magical in nature. Remove the whole doctor aspect and the whole mutating himself and then he becomes a vampire. Even if that is the origin of the character, I would get rid of it because it would have made more sense to just be like, he is a magical vampire. He and Lucian had some sickness when they're kids. They found something, or some other doctor or something that was a vampire, turned both of them and they got well. Now Lucian is off somewhere and Morbius is a doctor using his ability and creating blood. The reason why he created the artificial blood is because he found a way to take his mutative vampire blood to make it so that it's capable of making artificial blood so that people can use it, right? And then years go by and Lucian shows up in town and starts making havoc. And he's now trying to figure out what's going on in this city and these look like vampire attacks. That would explain all the magical vampire bullshit and he'd be like, I need to go and hunt down Lucian. I would
I
have rather preferred that over this. It is still bad, but I think it can handle bad magical vampire bullshit over I injected myself with vampire bat DNA and now I can summon the bats in New York to my bidding. It would have just made so much sense if it was like magical in nature. I could have been like, okay, this is magic. It makes sense because vampire bats, you know. But no,
that's all well and good, but I wouldn't spend any energy to make this movie better. To be honest with you,
it's fucking Morbius. So yeah, I agree.
it's great that you would like to do all of that, though.
I would prefer. They could have done so much better with this. It's like it definitely feels like a cheap cash grab, and I don't even think they even mean. It's probably going to make back its cash because it's meme to hell, and people are going. The funny thing is that some people believe the memes to be real. That people actually
Like it?
enjoyed Morbius, and
Wow.
they're going and watching the movie. Because it's been meme to hell so high that it's getting more plays. It got even more plays. Like, what the absolute hell? You know? So, yeah. I hope they don't make a Morbius 2. And I don't really care about the. Apparently, people said that the end credit scene was the shittiest end credit scene in a Marvel movie. I don't know who that guy is
I don't know who that guy is
because
either.
I don't watch anything to do. I haven't watched anything to do with it, and apparently that was the worst thing.
And
So it
what
doesn't
was
really matter
that
to me.
screensaver credits? That was a screensaver.
You said that immediately, and I was like, oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
It there there was no effort put into this movie. Really, it was just a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah, I don't think there was any purpose with this movie. It was like somebody decided that Morbius had to be made, and some
Somebody.
people put some things together, some grass and some mud and some rocks, and they poured some honey on top.
This feels like somebody lost a bet and then they had to make a movie.
Wow.
You know? It's like two execs were out or something and they made a bet on like some random shit and they were like, somebody lost and they was like, you gonna make any more of this movie? And the guy's like, fuck it, I'll make it for cheap. And it's not, it's not gonna make any money or anything, but jeez, this is.
You know what? I'd really like to know how much the actors were paid. Because their reputations are the honey that I'm talking about on top of the
I
grass
remember
and everything, you
seeing
know?
a Jared Leto interview where he was like, before the movie came out, where he was like, we were really like studying the character and we're getting into
What?
making sure that he's come on screen because he's a really fun and interesting
You know
character.
these actors have to say things.
I was like,
They have to promote
yeah,
their
yeah,
thing, even
yeah.
if they know that it's
It's
bad.
bullshit.
Exactly. They have to PR hard for their life.
They're fighting for
That's
their
why they
life.
go on all the talk shows at night. They go on all the talk shows in the morning. They be on the radio shows, even though a lot of people don't listen to radio shows. They be on the podcast now. They're on social media telling everybody how good it is. Get out there.
He even
It's
was
like, oh my God.
he was interviewed by a VTuber, I think. So yeah, even on like on YouTube and stuff like that, everywhere, man, gotta get people in those seats for this shit movie, and it worked. It's now the most memed movie, and it will be remembered for the great scene. It's Morbin time, you know. The M in Morbius is from masochistic because that's what it felt while watching this movie. No, the M in Morbius is for mistake because that's what this was.
It can be both.
It can be both. Ah, I I enjoy good garbage like this that comes along every now and then. Don't you? I love it when
This was not the kind of garbage that I would pick up.
it's not. I wouldn't say it's enjoyable garbage. It is bland. It is tasteless, flavorless food. That it is no. You know those shitty TV dinners that have no flavor, no taste, and you have to sprinkle salt and pepper on them to like get some semblance out of the meat that tastes like rubber. That is
Wow.
this. It is edible. It probably won't kill you. It might end up giving you an ulcer, but it won't kill you. But it's that bland taste in your mouth as you eat it, and you're just like, yeah, that's salt and pepper and meat substitute. But yeah, that is this movie.
For me, it was like I just I had this like what the heck look on my face the entire time. That's the only way I could explain it. I was very perplexed. That's a
Very.
good word.
Yes.
Not confused, but I'm just like, what even?
Yeah.
And also, why?
Why? Why? That's the entire this movie. Why? Why was it made? But what are you going to score this movie? I give it a 10 out of 10 morbs, you know? And I think that if you
Oh
haven't.
my goodness, now that you say that, I remember something. On those rating sites, it has like a high rating.
Yes!
Because the people, they're like, it's wow. I just have to say wow.
Congratulations, Internet.
Yes, internet has done well.
I enjoyed the bullying of Morbius. And I think it should continue to do so with movies like this that come out in the
I
future.
mean, I think we need to have an accurate rating as well. So after all of that is done, we should really, have a proper accurate rating. After the meme rating,
The real rating would be like 0%.
yes, I would also give it an 11 out of 11 Morb
Ah,
stars.
I see.
Um, and in reality, though,
Don't watch this movie.
yeah, it's more like the only thing that I can say is worth anything
Mm.
is the actors who were in it, but not the acting that they do.
No.
It's like, this is definitely not their best work.
No. I'm looking forward to seeing Matt Smith in the
The Game of
Game of
Thrones
Thrones prequel.
prequel.
That's the only reason I'm going to watch that show.
Me
because
too.
he's in it.
Yeah.
I only care about it, and because I know that most of the stuff for this is already written in books anyway, so they hopefully won't fuck it up.
It's coming out in August. I thought it had been
No, it's
come
been
out
just
already, but it
advertised heavily.
said August.
But yeah, hopefully that isn't a train wreck.
All right. Christopher and I do not recommend watching Morbius.
We do recommend the memes talking about Morbius, though.
Of course, if you're like us and you know that people are saying that it's really bad, but you still want to check it out, you can do that as well. But don't say that we told you it was good.
Yeah, it's...
No one told you it was good.
Of all the movies, Morbius is one that exists.
Right, definitely. It definitely exists because we saw it. Yes.
I think that's all we have to say about this crap fest, right?
Definitely.
I'll thank you guys and see you guys in the next one.
Good night, everyone.